Good morning. Today is September 19th, 2018, and we are at the Blue Ribbon Committee for People with Disabilities. And I'd like to start the meeting this morning. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and the second item on the agenda is the review and approval of minutes of the August 15, 2018 minutes. I know that you all have had ample time to review these. So I know that there was a potential change or revision.
Yes, it was item number 6 under the minutes for Wednesday, August 15th. Item 6 says that there is work on the Nights of Shine, and I believe it's something else, Becky?
Night to Shine.
So it's Night to
Shine
Shine.
event,
Mm-hmm.
correct.
Night to Shine.
So we just need to make that change from tonight's to shine, okay. Any other revision or changes or corrections that we need to make on the minutes for those individuals that were here for the last meeting? No? Okay. So then I need someone to motion to accept the minutes.
I'll move.
And,
Second.
yes, second, okay.
Mr. Chair, I may, just an apology, because I was note-taking here and wanted to capture the ideas, but this is in no way, because Jeanette does excellent minutes, and so we missed her minute. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank God we have an excellent secretary.
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the public comment, and I don't know if anyone signed up for public comment or not?
No one assigned.
No one, okay. So we move on to item number 4, discussion and possible action on the next steps for support for the White King Day. Mr. Delgado, you're probably more informed than most of us with regards to this, so, whatever report you can provide us with so that the committee can go ahead and pledge its support for the White Day.
Well, last week, Ms. Luna from TWC and Ms. Luz Garcia, I think she also worked with Human Health and Human Resource Services. We went to a meeting in City Hall with the mayor, and we were talking about the event, and we were talking about where it's going to be and where we're going to meet at the facility at City Hall. And one of the discussions was also the parking issue, that because of the limited spaces that there are there. So, Ms. Garcia and I went to the Metro bus and see if they can facilitate the parking lot over there at the bus station, at the bus. So we're going to talk about if they can waive the tariff for the parking space that day. And also we're gonna see if we can facilitate a bus to pick up people at Foster address at 4611 Foster, for people who cannot drive over there, and they'll see the bus can take people over there for the event.
Okay, excellent.
So we're gonna have a meeting tomorrow with Metro Bus about that. And also, I've been communicating with the president of the NFB and members of the NFB. And the McAllen chapter has already told me that they're probably going to participate at the walk also.
Can you let us know what the acronym means?
The McAllen chapter,
You said FMB?
and NFB, National Federation of the Blind of Texas. And today the president of the NFB Texas told me to keep in touch with her and keep her giving updates, because she's going to make an effort to come that day also. And if she comes that day, I'm pretty sure we'll have a chapter in Laredo also. That's one of my goals, is to have a chapter in Laredo for the NFB. And the reasons I want to have an NFB chapter in Laredo, because of the benefits it can bring to people who are blind, and it has benefited me since I've become an advocate for the NFB in Laredo. I've been to 3 trainings already from the NFB, and although they're short trainings, but they are very valuable trainings they give you. And in McAllen, I went to a training, and we learned, my wife and I learned a lot, with a little bit of Braille, a little bit of technology, a little bit of independent living. And they also talk about the NFB Newsline, which I think I showed you last December about what it's about the newspaper online, on the phone. And that's what it's all about. It's just bringing awareness to people who are blind. The NFB is here to help, and if people who think that it's the end of their time in this world because they're blind, this is hope for them, because it does work, and that's what I want. The message I want to give to everybody who cannot cope with blindness. So that's the reason. And like I said, the White Cane Awareness Day is a reality, thanks to members of the TWC and thanks to the mayor who's backing us up. He's gonna make a proclamation that day for White Cane Awareness Day. He's gonna
Would you give us the date again, please?
October 19th at 9 a.m. And we're gonna walk from City Hall to Jarvis Plaza and back. And like I told Mr. Castellon and Dr. Gonzalez, we'll have a couple of canes and a couple of blindfolds so you can enjoy walking with us. Okay?
Absolutely, thank you, Mr. Delgado. You know, on behalf of the families and those individuals who have to overcome this disability, I thank you for doing what you can to improve the quality of their life. And so, you know, on behalf of that population and the committee, I thank you for your efforts. All the work that you've done.
Mr. Chair, would you like for us to prepare a press release from the Blue Ribbon Committee supporting and endorsing the White Cane Day?
Absolutely, you could. Of course, the next thing that we need to make sure is that everybody on the committee should make a very, very strong effort to be there.
I want to add something else. The walk will be 2 days, 2 days after our meeting here next month, because I think we're going to have a meeting on October 17th, right? And the walk is going to be October 19th.
So then that's on a Friday?
It's on a Friday.
Yes. Also, we're gonna be having a flyer that will be coming out. Ruby's working on those, Monica, for the White Cane Day. So I'll shoot those out to all the members when they get finalized.
Okay, that's all I have to add.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
sir.
Mr. Delgado.
The next item we have is the update on the fees for the public transportation and the lift. And again, this was one of those issues that we would not be aware of unless Mr. Delgado had not brought it up to our attention probably about a year ago. And City Council, you all recall, raised the prices on the lift depending on the distance that it was transporting every individual. And so on many occasions, some of the individuals with disabilities have jobs, but they only work 2 or 3 hours a day, and so the cost itself would literally diminish their earnings by an entire hour's worth of salary in some occasions. And so if you all recall, the last time that we met, through the recommendation of Dr. Gonzalez and the energy and action imposed by Mr. Delgado, the committee wrote a letter to the City Council asking them to reconsider and potentially rescind or reduce the cost of that increase that they had approved a year ago. And my understanding is in the most recent budget meeting, the City Council did approve for the reduction of those costs, or that increase in the fare for the lift. And so it probably won't go into effect until December. But once again, in an effort to try to improve and minimize the impact of what many disabilities have upon the population or our citizens, you know, again, I have to thank Mr. Delgado for bringing that awareness that if not for his insight, most of us probably would not be aware of the kinds of consequences and complications that people with disabilities run into. So again, you're a great asset to the committee, so I thank you for being here.
Mr. Chair, I was gonna ask also, the rest of the agencies, if there are other services too, more related to item number one, for persons visually impaired, or if you hear of persons having problems with lip, to please let us know, so, I don't know if there's gonna be other activities also from the different agencies.
For
Like
Disability Awareness Month? Yes, I was actually just trying to to center the job fair. We're having the disability job fair that we've had. This is our 5th year. And we're I'm gonna go ahead and forward that. We have the final invitation, so I'm gonna send that to you guys. That's what I was just doing right now. It'll be on October the 25th at the Ambassador Event Center from 8 to noon. And again, this is our 5th annual, so we're really excited about it. And the really exciting thing is that I was sharing with Mr. Delgado that our agency, Marta knows firsthand, underwent so many changes. I talked about it a little bit in the past 2 years. And a lot of people have job fairs throughout the state of Texas from our agency. But a lot of people kind of put those to the side because of so much going on and everything happening, policy, and we weren't even sure really how
The
we could even do
transition,
the
yeah.
events, what we could still do, what we couldn't do anymore. And our crew just kept pushing forward. This 5th year anniversary, there are 5 consecutive years that we have done it, pushing through the last 2 years of all the changes, we still have it. And so I think that's very commendable for our staff, because it's like a wedding. I always say that. It's like a wedding. You need to find a venue. You need to see how you're gonna feed people. You need to invite everyone. And then it's like you keep your fingers crossed the day of. It's a lot of work. It takes all year. We end one and we begin planning for the next. So I'm just really proud of our crew that we continue to keep the customer first, and said no matter what's going on, we're gonna do what we gotta do, because these individuals need us. They need this. So it's exciting. So I'll be sending it. I love this flyer. It's like my favorite from the past 5 years. So I'll send this to you guys.
So let me ask you, so the organizations that participated in your disabilities job fair committee, or job fair rather, do they come predisposed with their willingness to give individuals with disabilities an opportunity to work for them?
You mean the businesses that are there to hire? The businesses, what we have found is that these are the businesses that either have already hired our customers, or yes, are willing to have a diverse workforce. And so every year we try to get new businesses on board, but we only have so much space though too. So we usually target those that have come because they will come again. And so what we've tried to do, but it's been really difficult, it's kind of like a moving target, is try to get stats from the job fairs, but you know how difficult that is, because sometimes our customers get hired and they don't tell us that it was because of someone they talked to at the job fair. They don't even remember. Sometimes the businesses don't always tell us, hey, we hired one of your folks. So, but I think, of course, the hiring of individuals with disabilities is key, but I think what it also has done is it has brought attention to that need for businesses to be willing to have a diverse workforce. And because we've had the mayor there every single year, that helps, because what the mayor supports, the community sees as important. And I think that those job fairs have indirectly impacted a lot of other initiatives that we have. One perfect example is the city of Laredo. You know, Dr. Gonzalez and his crew were pioneers in opening up their doors to the seal, which is like a kissing cousin of the job fair because they're the same people looking for jobs. And now we have Ms. Thurkettle had scheduled, HR now is coming to VR to teach us how to apply for city jobs.
Wow.
And in the past, if I might be honest, Dr. Gonzalez, it was very hard to bring City of Laredo to the LDA table. We wanted them so desperately, and I think that because of how LDA was in the past, there were some missteps on our part, and maybe we you know didn't keep that rapport. But now the City of Laredo is saying we want to open up the doors for summer earn and learn and hiring individuals with disabilities, not just the health department, but the entire city of Laredo. And that for us, we've been trying to do that for at least the past 5 years since I've been here. I don't know how much before that. So these job fairs are more than just fill out an application and hope to get hired. They're telling the community, hey, these individuals live here too. They also want a purpose in life. They also want to make a difference. And I think that after 5 years, we could see the ground starting to break. And it's an awesome thing. It's not a perfect process, but it's working. It's working. And so what we do, it's sponsored by the Laredo Disability Alliance, which is the baby, if you will, of our agency. But we did the LDA to bring in any and all partners from the community, and even individuals like Mr. Delgado. Mr. Delgado's name is on our flyer because and people say, Robert Delgado, is that a company or what is that? No, that's a person with a disability that is invested in what we are doing. And so if he's not a company, does that matter? If it's one person trying to make a difference, then he's part of the team. So it has been, sometimes I get emotional just thinking of how far we have come from just 2013. It's amazing. So this is really important for us, and we don't do it alone. You know, we always used to put City of Laredo, and Dr. Gonzalez would say, well, who from City of Laredo is there? It's like, well, we invited them, but they didn't come. Then we kind of felt like, should we take off the City of Laredo? Could that be like fraud? And no, but we have to leave the City of Laredo because the City of Laredo is Laredo. Like, and now we can put it on there with good faith, and that feels good.
And thank you, Dr. Gonzalez, for that.
Absolutely,
Because you've always
because
been a great partner, an open door,
He was a
and you know, at the
pioneer.
end of the day, it's for our community. It's to, you know, para mover la gente, you know, it's for our people. So
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Well, no, thank you all, and I appreciate your appreciation, but I tell you, you all are making an impact in the city. To piggyback on what was said, the mayor brought up an issue at one of the council meetings, telling HR that they wanted to make sure that HR was designating support and training to hire people with disabilities within the city. Similar to what it had done to designate veterans. If a veteran applies for any city job, we have to interview them. They've been designated. You know, people can choose the best candidate, but we have to give the veteran a try. And so we have to interview them. So they're working on that same thing, and I think this is the first step, but it's because of you all, because of the committee and your recommendations. And yet, Mr. Delgado, those meetings that you have with the mayor have made a difference. And he gets the minutes from every meeting, and he gets the announcement. and the agendas, every single council member and the mayor get it, of all the committees, commissions, advisory groups, Blue Ribbon, they all get it. I can tell you that the mayor reads it. So you made an impact, so thank you to you all.
To everyone.
Thank you all very much. I know that everybody does what they can individually and together collaboratively as a group. And I know that we've had conversations going back 5 years, okay? Where, how challenging it is, or it has been, unlike other communities where you see individuals with disabilities more frequently out in the workplace and workforce. And for some reason or another, you know, we've been very, a community that's taken a little longer to react to those needs. And, you know, and unlike people 20, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, you know, we go back to the parking lot thing where
Yeah.
accessibility parking. Back then, 20, 30 years ago, you had a disability, you were left in your house and that's where you were there until you, that's it. You became old and you eventually passed away. People with disabilities nowadays have access to everything, okay? And there's been an effort at all levels of government, state and federal to pursue that and integrate people with disabilities into the community. And so one of the ways to do that is, most obviously, is by integrating them into a typical normal job site. And that's been a challenge to educate our community, that they have something to contribute and they can be invested in your company as well and actually improve your company as well. So I think just shows that some consistency and resiliency has helped enormously to change some mindsets. And so it starts with the organization. Of course, Dr. Gonzalez, I don't know who he goes and pulls strings with. It helps a lot.
And I think even from a more global perspective, things are changing, like the new shows on Tourette's and what's that show with the individuals with intellectual disability, where one of them is like kind of an entrepreneur and Hello Kitty took her on. She had a personal business where she did like tie-dye shirts. And now she's contracted, I mean, in the real world, she's contracted with Hello Kitty. Like Hello Kitty? And that is part of that show that is showing that these people can make a difference. They're creative. They can contribute to, you know, to our nation's economy. I mean, it's not just give them a purpose and get them off the couch. They can contribute like any other person can, and I think that globally we're starting to see it's starting to be normalized, if you will, and it's not a scary thing like, oh, what do we do, you know? So I think it's like the waters are stirring, and this is like a perfect time to continue to push forward with what we do. So.
You know, anytime you speak to, at least from my experience, with individuals who have disabilities, whether that was emotional or physical, etc., they will tell you, what do you want? They tell you. The most difficult, challenging things for individuals or the population who has never dealt with an individual with a disability is, do I need to treat them differently? Okay, how do I treat them differently? And you're gonna find out that most individuals with disability, they tell you, don't treat me differently, I'm no different, treat me normal. Okay, I don't want any handouts, I don't want any freebies, I don't want you to have pity on me, just be normal, okay? And that includes in all spectrums of disabilities, okay, where people tell you, just give me a chance, treat me normally. And I think that's taken a while, okay, but as you say, that it's people with disabilities are being integrated into everything. I don't know if you all have seen America's Got Talent. There's a gentleman there who's a finalist, okay,
Well, even
as
the
a
Dancing
comedian.
with the Stars,
Yes.
that lady with the prosthetic.
Yes, amazing.
Yeah, that deaf person
Mm-hmm.
that was
My
feeling
Lord.
the beat. Can you believe
Yeah.
that? Like, how do you feel the beat?
Yeah.
So yes, that's what I'm
Amazing.
saying, that even the media and just globally, it's kind of started to get a little more open-minded.
I guess when you lose a sense, other senses kick in.
Yeah,
Mhm.
true.
Sure.
So thank you all for all the work that you've done. I know it hasn't been easy, cause I know we've tried over the course of 5 or 6 years that most of us have been here to change things, and now you're probably starting to see some changes in, not only on a personal level individually, but institutionally and at a municipal level, so thank you all.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I know IMC is next. I've asked the committee if we can move up D, because part of the promotion, and you all had requested to do a video, and really at our department, Erica takes the lead, making sure that we place the interns, the students.
That's
but
amazing.
They, with Laredo, we sent it to you, but someone had said they didn't see it, so I asked her if she could show it to you all. Laredo College now,
Yes.
not Laredo Community College, did the taping. This was one of their students, and
The
so
cybersecurity,
the
yeah.
cybersecurity. So if the committee wishes, Erica's ready to show it to you all.
Yeah.
So like Dr. Gonzalez mentioned, that it was a collaboration with Laredo College and Texas Workforce. We did work in an internship opportunity or activity with them. This gentleman had just completed his cybersecurity certification, and we were able to accommodate him here with our IT department. So I received amazing comments from him. He was very quiet. We didn't get to interact with him a lot, but he's very chatty in this video, so we're very appreciative of him. But in real life, he was more reserved. But I mean, I got a comment from one of our IT staffers that said, you know what, today I learned something from him, something I didn't know before, and he was able to share that. So to have that, interaction and collaboration, I think was great, and you'll hear a little bit more about this program in video. Let's just hope it's okay. They showcased 2 students, but Jose Hernandez is the intern that was here.
Work computer, I was so curious about it, every time I looked into stuff, I'll break it. And I'll keep breaking and breaking until one time they had no time to get it fixed, to send me to get it fixed. My dad had enough, so he sent me to personal PC classes, to work on how to install everything. So from then on, that's when I started.
My name is Jose Hernandez. It started for me a little bit from elementary school because they would take us to a classroom with computers, and that was one of my favorite trips. In middle school, we started doing typing classes. That's where I would get interested the most. Like, all my other classes were good too, but they would interest me more in computer classes. And then, my dad, he always stays positive and he always helps me out through everything. When we went to the first orientation, he came with me, and it opened my eyes because I knew that it wasn't going to be people my age, it was going to be people older that already have bigger knowledge of everything.
People from different backgrounds. The things that surprised me is people from different backgrounds came to take that class. Someone was in the HVAC field, some other people were part of the police force, and different backgrounds that have no connection to computers. I was surprised about this, that people are into this, they want to know. I think it's a very important field in the future, and people need to know this.
I am Dr. Rodney H. Rodriguez, Executive Director for Strategic and External Initiatives at Laredo College. This Cybersecurity Analyst program, we are able to offer a 6-week program from 8 to 4. It's a very intense, very robust program. But once you get through that 6 weeks program, then you test for a certification, and this is through a very well recognized company in the information technology industry. And I'm really, really proud to say that we've been very successful in even the certification rate of graduation, but also placing our individuals that graduate in employment and very good jobs.
From my experience, I think they should do it because it helps them expand their knowledge in cybersecurity, and the way that it was taught from the instructor, it helped open my eyes to many more possibilities out there for certifications like this one.
the impact that this class had opened doors for me. I see the field of where to go. Like something before that, you just couldn't see past one step, but this one you can see many steps ahead.
Expanded
It's something that opens someone's eyes when they're looking at a resume, because cybersecurity is something that's going on around more often in big corporations, especially like the city of Laredo, and everywhere they're trying to keep up with all these different hacks that are going on.
I'd like to tell those individuals who are contemplating whether or not to pursue a certificate or an industry recognized certification to take that leap of faith. You know, to go ahead and come in and try to earn that certification that they have been aspiring to get, or you know, that associate's degree or that certificate that they're wanting. To just start and acquire it. Education is the key to success. And with the opportunities we offer here at Laredo College, there's no reason why anyone wouldn't be successful.
You did a great job.
That's awesome.
Well, they taped it and
Yeah.
Erica coordinated it here, but the young man did
Amazing.
if you didn't see him in the wheelchair,
Yeah.
you
would
never know. And our staff, you know, you see them, they have their meetings, he contributed a lot. Department-wise, it made us more aware of what some of the changes we need to do.
Yeah.
As well, because we should be.
Yeah. And I think that's a perfect example that the second one is our customer.
Correct.
He's Darlene Rodriguez's customer, but it's like you have Laredo College, the health department, VR, workforce, all together to make this happen. Like that's what it's about, those partnerships.
Yeah.
And let me tell you that now for FY19, one of our benchmarks, now that we're under the workforce, is going to be credentialing. So they wanna see more of this.
Yes.
We have to have a 58% rate of individuals that come to us and leave
Credential.
with some kind of increase in education, whether it's they didn't have a GED and now they do, they have a high school diploma and they didn't before, an associate's, a certificate,
Yeah.
something.
And
So it's not just about employment anymore.
no, exactly.
It's about
For
raising that
credential.
level
Yes.
of education
And the
skill.
state is pushing very much so we've got apprenticeship, that we're working through, and the fast track training, those certifications, because there's a lot of money for these folks to make with those certifications, so the state is pushing a lot of those fast track training, get in, get out, and get it done, because the state is all about getting everybody to work,
Yeah,
period. We're gonna
absolutely.
rehabilitate you for what? You're gonna go to work.
And not everybody is appropriate for an academic track
Exactly.
either.
Thank you.
They're more appropriate
Wasn't
for
safe.
vocational
No,
training.
but they are pushing it hard.
So-
We're going up to an apprenticeship training, that is, I traveled today, but it'll be, Thursday and Friday, and it is amazing what these colleges and these communities do. I know that last year when we attended, they had the students from the vocational, so they had the plumbers, the electrician, the construction, from the school, build the tiny homes for the homeless people. They did a little homeless community, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
We're gonna do something here. It's just a
Yeah,
matter of
it's
time.
And if they were to
great
pursue
story.
a degree, Jose actually is enrolled in TAMI right now for
Mhm.
his 4-year
That's awesome.
bachelor's. But it also goes to show that even with that education, to further diversify his own portfolio, he pursued this credentialing. So even those that do pursue higher education, you have to also look at what's gonna make me different from the rest, what's gonna give me that extra oomph
It
for-
expands your vision,
That's a good
when you're
point.
exposed to
and they're
this.
more
Very good
attractive to
point.
employers.
Yes.
So I think, he's starting off on a great foot, and we learned from them, and he, I think it was a good experience for him too, at least from what I gathered from the video. 'Cause I would ask him every week, and I'm like, how is it? Like, are you liking it? Like, what did you learn? It's good. I like it.
to work with him too, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think
He-
so.
It's
Yeah.
great.
But you know, the message here, you know, is partnerships. We don't do anything alone.
Exactly, that's
And
where
it's
it's
not me,
at.
you, it's the partnerships.
Yeah.
We all have resources, valuable resources that we bring to our community, but when you put them together, it's like, whoa.
Yeah.
May I say
Mhm.
something, just to piggyback on that
Awesome.
idea? That's why every single member in this committee is so important.
Yeah.
Because we come from different walks of life, we each have different preparation and we have disciplines, things that we know.
Mhm.
And when we put it all together,
Mhm.
with Dr. Gonzalez and Erica, things happen and it's awesome, and we really need each one of you to
Yeah.
come.
Well, Mr. Chair and Committee, we wanted to, based on your recommendation from your past meeting that you wanted to put some promotional video, so there's this, that LC did a great job, but we do have public access that the city could take anew. Because I think you all are so right, we need to continue to promote and
Advocate.
in the end, to try to get the business community to hire persons with
To be
disabilities.
more
Exactly.
inclusive.
Dr. Gonzalez, you know this video currently is being aired?
From what I understand, LC was going to use it for, right now internally, to promote their program, their cybersecurity program.
Mhm.
But I think that's one of their, one of the purposes for the video. What we could also consider is, we know the person that drafted it or that created it, and we could pursue maybe that company directly to, of course, with the agreement of LC, to maybe use the same footage but with the message of hiring people with disabilities.
You could do splice edit voiceover,
So,
and it would work.
yeah, my only thing would be, it's their
Permission.
content, so we
Yeah.
just have to make
Permission.
sure we get permission.
Right.
But we know the person that created it, and we could pursue that and ask Rodney about it.
They
And
did an
also-
excellent job.
Yeah, they did, but
It's
Roxanne-
really good work.
Roxanne Denya, she's the assistant PIO at the city,
That's it.
right?
Right.
She is amazing. She's got a film company, but she's the one that did the footage for the Night to Shine. I mean, she hung in there the whole night, and that was an amazing video, professionally done.
Yeah,
And she
that one looks really
volunteered,
clean.
she volunteered of her time. So if there's something in the works that we wanna put together as a committee, I mean, we can tap into, we don't need to take their thunder, we can create ours, how we want it to be, and maybe all the different scopes of an individual with disabilities to shed light on, their abilities. I think that would be a
And
fantastic
since,
idea.
It's up
since
to
there's
you.
a lot of success stories, maybe we could, we don't necessarily
Yeah.
have to do everything in one. We
Right.
could maybe do several mini ones, because I know
Mhm.
that, for example, KGNS and other TV stations,
Mhm.
they would rather air a shorter
Yes.
PSA than a longer. So
Mhm.
maybe like some of y'all's success stories, maybe do several volumes of it, short ones,
Or at the
30-second
schools.
spots.
Yeah, I was
Or
gonna
at
say,
the schools.
where we have, locals hiring schools from the schools, I have two
That's perfect.
businesses
Yeah.
That's
that hire,
perfect.
and they've been there for
Yeah.
some time.
And the businesses, which I'm sure it's a strategic plan, you all
Yes.
partner and know that this individual's getting ready to come out and let's work with them, and so when they're out, you've got that safety net on them, and then you've got a place to.
I
Mhm.
would, could we use this for our job fair? Because all
That's
the
what I was gonna, that
businesses
would
are
be
there.
amazing.
And the businesses
And I
need
think,
to
I
see
think
that.
also if you could inject the Night to Shine there too, because that's for our community.
Yes.
And the Night to Shine was an amazing event. And I think a lot of people missed the opportunity, cause that was amazing, and this year's gonna be even bigger. Cause you can imagine word of mouth and everything else, cause they were granted
And
the,
each year it'll get better, like your idea
Yeah.
about putting this out there and maybe adding some of the
Mhm.
schools, all of these
Mhm.
success stories, you're having them aired,
yeah.
you're building.
And here, what I love is they're highlighting, the college did the actual grant, because that money they actually footed. We're working on a second one for cybersecurity through a tip grant with them to do a second class. So the state and the college and ourselves would put that together. We've got to find the folks to train, 'cause they've got to be WIO eligible. But I think it would be an amazing, amazing idea. When you have the footage of City of Laredo, they're partnering, the health department, and say you've got another employer who's employing
Another
individuals and you
job.
highlight them,
And LISD
that would
has
be
employers
amazing.
too. You could get videos from LSD and USD as well,
Mhm.
because those students are already out
They're
there.
already out working.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And there's already partners out there,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
businesses.
That will open the doors for other businesses.
Well, Madam Chair, if you have already videos that you've done, if you can send them to us, and then we can see how you all want us to distribute them, but we'll compile them. And again, everyone got this one, right? We sent it out to you.
Yes,
And
it
we
was
can
amazing.
use it?
I think so.
It's a link.
We asked,
What's
Yeah.
that? Oh, that you can, do you have LC as part of your, are they participating in the fair?
I was
Laredo-
gonna
well,
bring that to
workforce
the
is-
meeting through,
Do we have someone from?
we don't
can
have
reach out
anybody,
to-
Used to have
yeah,
someone.
at this time,
Yeah.
He was deaf.
yeah.
I wanna say David Garza, but he hasn't
Yeah.
been at the LDA meetings lately.
Yeah, but we can get Roddy to put either Fabiola or now they have Sal or one of them to sit and represent the college because
That would be
it
great.
always
would be
doesn't,
nice
one of
to
them is
have
Craddock,
everybody.
right?
Because
Craddock
It would
is the
be
one
nice
who,
to have somebody from Laredo College, to have Darlene from VR,
Mhm,
Sassy from Let's Go, you from Workforce,
mhm.
one of your folks from the health department, and have all the partners up there to
Yes.
make the point.
Mhm.
It takes a partnership to make it
Oh,
work.
absolutely.
But it
And I
That
would
would be
suggest a
awesome.
video of that. And I would suggest a video of that. The teaming of those 5 or 6 people.
That would be awesome.
Video that, because that's valuable.
Who from your crew could go? You?
You
well,
would,
either I or
Judge
Erica
up-
will go, we'll
Uh-huh.
go. The mayor already confirmed, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We're also
I-
trying
yeah.
to get the commissioner.
I know someone had reached out to me about participating in the fair.
Oh, perfect.
But because they had reached out to Carol, I know Carol had been out for a little bit, but she's back this week. I just wanted to confirm with her, I'd rather not,
yeah,
so,
we get it.
but I mean, I can
But,
definitely
but
attend.
to speak, I think it's important that you
Oh, I'll
get
be
on the
there.
agenda
Okay.
as, you know, everything that has transpired in the committee and everything
Yeah,
that you
because it
do.
says the health department.
Yeah, you need to be on the
Yeah,
agenda,
I
Dr.
would
Gonzalez,
like
absolutely.
to.
Yeah,
I
if
keep
you've
walking
got it on
away.
your,
I like that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
So whatever we
Okay,
can
that
do,
would be
and
good.
at the same time, we'll ask, and certainly it's a partnership with LCC, if we can promote that
Mhm.
video. Plus anything that you all have, because I know the schools do also
There's a
lots
lot of
of
job
work.
sites in both districts.
Yeah, and those partners, we would like to talk to tap into them to see, would they like to participate in the fair? I mean, they're already doing it.
That's huge, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell you why,
I know we
anytime
usually
these
take our
kids,
children.
once they graduate, they don't get to keep those jobs.
Mhm.
So if they partner with you, then those
Mhm.
doors are gonna open for kids post-grad,
Yeah.
which is what we want.
Right. Now, we also have, now flipping the switch, but we also have the work experience year-round program. It's a new grant that we're
Yeah.
working with VR and ourselves. To have people, we've got money where we're gonna pay them to work.
So
And that's a
basically-
year-round, rather, it was the seal before and now it's gonna be a year-round program.
Well, no,
What's
it's
the time
separate from the
fee?
seal.
Yeah,
Yeah, the seal.
it's separate from the seal.
Yeah, the
Wow.
seal is still gonna take place every summer,
Right.
but the paid work experience is gonna be year round.
Mhm.
But it's not called seal, and it's not seal.
It's
and
summer,
it's seal.
it's called summer work.
Cause there's some confusion.
Yeah, no, it's
Paid
called,
work
we're calling it
experience.
paid work experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so it's exactly what the seal is,
Mhm.
just year round, but
Mhm.
the backdrop is different in terms of the contracting and
Yeah.
The way the grant is
the
written, the
Yes.
service
criteria.
records and all that customers don't care about.
What I'm
nor
looking
do
at
you,
for the
but it's
ISDs
different.
is the possibilities for transition. I'm
Mhm.
talking about real transition to the world of work.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, that's what their new navigator is
Mhm.
gonna be doing, is really looking at true
This is the piece that
transition.
has been missing for a long time.
Yeah.
And that is at the top of the VR agenda.
Beautiful. It's
Mhm.
beautiful.
That is like literally the most important thing in our agency right now.
And it's really important for ISDs also to show that after kids graduate with a vocational kind of track, that they really do have employment, paid employment,
Yes.
post-grad.
Yes.
Which goes back to what Dr. Gonzalez said about the businesses being willing to do the
See, and
hiring.
that's what I'm saying, if
Yeah,
your,
it all-
y'all's
it all
idea
ties
of the
in
5
together.
up there, that's why I think it would be so valuable to record that video, because then we can use it.
Yeah, I think that would be awesome.
And you know what I was thinking too, Jeanette, if we do a sensitivity training to the employers who are gonna partner on the LDA,
Beautiful.
that would be amazing.
I see what
If we can fit it in, cause I know the scheduling
Yeah,
and
that's usually what gets kind of tricky
Yeah.
because,
The time.
well, every year's different, but you
Yeah.
have a line of people like, hey, when can we go in and fill
Yeah.
out these apps? And we're doing this whole, show. So it's very abbreviated.
Yeah,
And then you don't wanna cut people off like
yeah.
the
No,
mayor.
but I'm saying do a strategic plan where we're gonna do a sensitivity training prior to. I mean, you can have it at the center. Say, look, on this day at this
Well,
time.
it would be nice
would
to
you come and
target
meet
those
with us?
businesses that are already there because
Yes.
they're, but they're already open though to a diverse.
Yeah,
You
but
want
just
those that are
Done.
not.
yeah, a sensitivity
Yeah.
training would bring a lot of value to become a more inclusive employer, and that's the whole goal. I mean, this job fair is to get you employment. By the time we're done is, we want to understand and let them know. Our goal is to employ these
Well, I
individuals.
wanna announce, we're doing sensitivity training for the city of Laredo.
That's great.
It was requested by Mr. Kettle.
Carol.
Wow.
And my understanding, it's 2 whole days. And it's going to be a repetition from the morning. They're basically 4 different trainings, if you will. But I'm assuming there's so much staff that they're having to break it up
And on
between
that
those
point,
days,
I
so.
discussed it with Dr. Gonzalez
That's
about
awesome.
maybe doing a separate one for the health department. We had some discussions of including it in our all-staff training, but
That would
again,
be
like you
great.
mentioned, that's a little bit abbreviated because there's
Okay,
other
like-
things to cover.
Mhm.
But we're doing other trainings. We did a supervisory training some time ago, also partnering with LC. And we really wanna give the opportunity for our health department employees to have that training.
Yeah,
So,
all our large
That would be
employers
great.
too.
and
Yeah.
I mean, our department alone is over 200 employees. So
Wow.
perhaps we might not,
That's a lot.
if they open it up citywide, sometimes they don't always have the access to those
Yes.
sessions.
Mhm.
So we might be in contact with you. I know you had spoken to Richard
Mhm.
Chamberlain.
Oh,
So,
yes, he's a sweet guy.
we've been in discussions already that
Smart guy.
we might want to do something
On the
here.
sensitivity
That would be
training,
great,
I have a question.
absolutely.
Do y'all see it as a viable way to go to do trainer of trainers for larger organizations, or is that a no-no?
Well, I
For
think
us to
because you've
train the
got
trainer?
Do
Oh.
a trainer,
People
in other
coming
words,
in.
exactly, that's a model that is used in school districts sometimes. Do you
Train
wanna
the
talk
trainer.
about it?
Yeah, I would
I
have
think
to
you've
say
gotta have some
no.
expertise because if questions come up and whatnot,
Yes, and
cause they
Martha
do
is a
open it
part of
up.
it, so she can allude
Yeah.
to it. Because what happens when we've done them is there's a lot of questions at
Yeah.
the end.
And you've gotta have
Whether
that background. I
they,
think.
and each of the, they're broken up, deaf, hard of hearing,
Right.
blindness, and visually impaired, mental health disabilities, and cognitive disabilities. And each presenter is an
Specialized in that
expert
field.
in that field. It's a subject matter expert. So if they have questions or, and you're doing a train the trainer, it could start to
There
kind
could be
of
some
lose
holes in the
that.
info.
Yeah, or
And
wrong
what we
information
do
given
is
or.
at the end of the training, we tell them that we give them all of our information
Mhm.
and we say we're available from
If
here
you
on
have-
out.
If you have further
If you
questions.
run into someone, you have a question, has to do with ADA, rights of individuals with disabilities, anything like email us, text us, call us, and if we don't have the answer, we'll get it for you. So that component makes it difficult to do a train the trainer.
Okay, just thought I'd throw it out there.
But I mean, there hasn't been anyone that we have ever said like, oh, we can't do it. We have taken up every single request and we have followed it through to the end. So it never has been an issue of availability to this day.
No.
We make it happen, even though a couple of our presenters are from Corpus.
Out of town.
One from San Antonio, but they come.
Mhm.
They come. They're very reliable. And so it has worked well so far.
So I stepped out. So, I'm just curious, whatever happened with the video?
Mr. Chair, we're gonna ask LC if we can promote it, use
Okay.
it. We're gonna compile some of the videos that already are at the schools or that the agencies have. And then I think the committee is recommending that at the job fair also take that session. And we'll take it from there. You all let us know how much, but we do have PAC available on behalf of the city. Then Erica had a good point, that the agency who did the tape for LC is already doing work for us too, or has done in the past, so we can ask about him.
So Erica, how do you want the ISDs to send you the videos, or do you have a deadline, or?
We look for
Yeah, I mean, this was on Google Drive through a link. That's, I think, like good. I don't know, just whatever you have, send it over and.
It's gonna take some time, I don't know, we have to get it approved on higher up.
Right, you have to get permission signed off, so
So they
to have
can-
kids
I mean,
do
in
the
terms of
video.
deadlines, it's
Although
really up
most,
to the
most
committee.
teachers, self-contained teachers already get that at the beginning of the.
We just have to double check
Double check.
that they're there
Yes.
and see if there's actually a video, cause I haven't seen one as of right now,
We
but there
have
might be out
audience.
there, I just
I
haven't
haven't
seen.
seen one.
But if there isn't, then that also
We'll make
tells
it.
you what we need to do next.
We need to make one.
Yes.
We'll get it.
Thank you all for your contributions to that portion of the agenda. The last section we have is recommendation to mayor signs on membership rotation. Last time that we had spoken about this was that we would try to interface our membership based on the mayor's term for 4 years. Okay, so I know that the mayor is his term, I think, is expiring in December.
Yes.
Right? And so at that time, it's his decision is, I guess assuming that he gets reelected to office, it's his choice whether he wants us to remain on this committee or whether he would want to replace us with someone else. And I think that overall, most of the members on in the committee agreed to that. Of course, ultimately, it's up to you all, if you all can continue to participate or you just wanna move on, we understand, and it's your choice to voice that as well.
And I believe we had discussed that whoever, if there's anyone that wants to rotate perhaps with someone else in the organization or with someone else, to write a letter, I believe is, but we also said that it would hopefully be after December, correct?
I
To
think
wait-
that's what we said, to wait until the new change, if there's any change.
If there's any change.
Mhm.
And as you stated, ultimately it's the mayor to decide whether he wants to keep us or not.
And so far, assuming we're all under the presumption that Mayor Sines will continue, but I know that he has some opponents.
Several.
And so we don't know what the voters of Laredo are going to decide, okay? So, who knows, the next mayor may not necessarily want this particular group.
Yep.
Who knows?
Mr. Chair, and committee, the mayor's already expressed that if he continues another 4 year, he wants the committee to continue and the members. So it would be, again, your decision, but as far as he's concerned, also, and I didn't reflect it in the minutes, you all had discussed in the, not the last meeting, the previous one, that, people can rotate, but that the agencies who are on should stay.
Right.
We need the schools, we need, rehabilitation, we need the different
jobs,
workforce
location.
programs, and we need the consumers, the stakeholders, so, you have a right mix, people could change, but you want the agencies. The mayor also did ask that, again, recommendations from you all to let him know, when someone is gonna rotate, he'd like to hear from you, who do you recommend? As well as, and Mr. Chair, I think you all had the discussion too at a previous meeting, is there any other agency that you want? Not necessarily as a voting member, but you can always have stakeholders, consumers to come participate in the meetings. And I mentioned to you the Drug and Alcohol Commission. You have the commission members that are appointed by each council member and the mayor. They're the vote. But at each meeting, they invite all of the agencies that have a service for alcohol and drug abuse, and their meetings are full. They always come. But they voted that they wanted them to come, and so at every invitation, when we have the Drug and Alcohol Commission meetings, they get invited too. And so far, they've had 8 meetings, and at 8 meetings, let me tell you, they all come. They all come. And that's something you all could do as well. If there's an agency missing, you just let me know and we can invite them. We can invite them to come. Doesn't necessarily mean that they become a committee member, but their expertise.
I think we
You
need
could need their
the
expertise.
higher learning,
The TAMI
Laredo
U and
College
LC.
and TAMI U.
Even the schools, how they have in TAMU, what is it, the early college?
College.
Those, I know they've been very successful.
Hector, you wanna see our early college? You know what, I honestly think, this is just my
The higher
opinion,
learning
but,
has to be at the
so,
table.
our strength here, right, and our strong, we are the #1 inland port, there's a lot of activity. So, why don't we have somebody representing, I don't know if it's the Brokers Association or the Logistics and Transportation or Laredo Motor Carriers, cause those guys have the jobs. And that would be a great strategic plan, because we are, booming
That's a very
here.
good observation.
Most of my customers are working in logistics, import, they're truck drivers, they're in the warehouse, like more than 50%.
We're working
And
with Unitrade, and they've got Unitrade Forwarding, Unitrade Logistics, and Unitrade Brokerage. So there are 3 entities in one. We're doing a skills grant with them to train up their people, and we need those people at the table. Because of strategically, geographically where we are located.
And where the
That's-
jobs are.
Yeah, and that's where the jobs are, and they're good paying jobs. People think, logistics is not sexy, so we're trying to change that. Logistics, do we need to scratch that, doctor?
Depends on what it wears.
Because people think, logistics, you're on a forklift and you're moving a pallet, but there is money to be made there.
Oh, yes.
If you can learn the ropes. So, with that said, I'm just sharing it.
No,
And
Laredo's
secure
the
job
#1
security
inland
too.
port in the
Yeah.
United States.
We have more
You're right.
warehouses in San Antonio and Corpus put together.
That is correct.
Well, Mr. Chair, and committee member, you just let us know, these last couple of years, we've concentrated on city services. The building director has been here,
Yes,
the
police
metro
department.
director, the chief of police, so they've come here because we wanted to impact accessible parking and then hiring. And so, now if you want the other agencies like the Custom Brokers Association, we can invite them, just let me know. And they can come make a presentation. That's part of your outreach too.
Yeah, so that they
and having
know
them
what's going
hire
on.
people with disabilities.
Well, Diana, do you have access to them?
Yes, I sure do.
So do
I
we,
sure
we inspect the warehouses.
Yeah, you do. You have access to everybody. There you go. He inspects and checks everything and everybody.
Inspector 12.
Well, see, because that's part of the.
It's your
Yeah.
responsibility. You're
There's a
responsible
lot
for
of
everything.
warehouse.
Everything. No stress.
No stress.
So, Dr. Gonzalez has access because he checks their warehouses.
Maybe not like them very much. So you know that they have to redo their warehouse. No, but we could, Without a doubt, if that's what the committee wants and with that direction we wanna move to try to engage some of the employers in Laredo who have accessibility to multitudes of jobs that more than likely the population that we represent could fill. You know, if we can have them here and maybe we could let them know what we're trying to do and then see what happens, cause I know that
Yeah.
we've gone through the Chamber of Commerce and that didn't work real well, okay?
No,
And so maybe if we directly invited some of them here, and that might be a better fit, a better way to access them.
And the private sector, you know, the private sector, they've got the funds, they've got the jobs, they've got, you know, they're doing well, they've got the benefits for the folks, and at the end of the day, it's all about, you know, our community finding those jobs for gainful employment, not just a job.
right.
Mhm.
So we wanna work on that, on that idea, we can experiment with the warehouse guys. With the brokers.
And you know, maybe the approach like you say, Daniel, that we bring them and, you know, share with them and maybe, you know, make a small presentation, this is what what we do, and then let them share, okay,
Yes,
what do you
exactly.
do?
What do you do?
So how could we feed these people, because they have a vast array of different occupations, I mean.
So I assume that they're gonna be somehow involved in the disability job fair, because they have so many jobs, no?
There are some on the list, this last list that Anna sent over,
Yeah, there was one
There-
that is
there's-
really like even felony friendly.
yeah.
Depending on how far
Yeah.
back.
There's a couple, but
There's a
anytime that
transit,
we
I
do
can't
any
remember.
type of event, we try and, because, you know, if you do the labor market information, I mean, they're way up there.
Yeah.
You know, that and the health, you know, health is up there too. The hospitals, they're large employers, you know, Danielle or,
Those we haven't been able to bring to a table either.
no, pues I go to her, le digo, Danielle, she's HR, hey, Danielle, they have
The
a partner, what
hospitals
can we
and
do?
medical.
Yeah, not for every posting I have 200 people apply, like, what I need you for, like, Danielle, I have money for training, Danielle, well, then we can talk.
I like it.
Felony
Yeah.
friendly. I'll
Felon
have to
friendly,
remember
the
Yeah,
felon friendly
We have a
employers.
list of businesses, because
We
some
just
of our
need to have-
individuals, unfortunately, because, you know, they were not on their meds or whatever, and, you know, acted out or, you know, made an error, poor judgment or whatever. And so we have a list of businesses that are willing to hire, it
To
just
take a chance,
depends
yes.
on what it is. You know, they don't wanna see like assault, aggression, nothing like that, but took a vase from a hotel or like, you know, and then how far back too, they'll say
Right.
like as long as it's not within the past 5 years, or they're all different, but there's a list, you'd be amazed,
Mhm.
yeah.
That are willing
will-
to.
That are willing to give them a chance, yeah.
Okay. So we can do that, Dr. Gonzalez or Diana, or you all can team up and work on it.
We'll coordinate.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. And I think we're done.
Yeah, just pending the.
So the last item is, are there any announcements?
Disability job fair, we already.
Yeah, I sent that flyer to everyone already.
Yeah, we just
Thank
received
you.
it. Thank you. No one's having a child or
Yeah,
getting
I think we
married?
did a bunch of announcements.
Okay, no announcements.
Just the film from the ISDs is pending to go to Erica.
Okay, Google, call Tony.
Google Assistant. Showing I call Tony. Calling Tony. Mobile 3 period. Make a call to Tony. Phone. Call. Dialing Tony. Call.
You see that guy, that's all high tech.
Muy high tech.
Okay,
Too
so
much.
we're pretty much concluded, then I move, do I need someone to move to adjourn?
Okay,
So I
Bye.
move to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
see you.
Okay,
I'll use my phone.
Thank you all